Good afternoon, everybody. David Schuster back here on Take Action News. And what a glorious weekend. This is June the 8th. If you're up and down on the East Coast, man, the weather outside is magnificent. Congress is back in session, and this is the show where we like to explain what's going on in government and politics and on Capitol Hill and help you better understand some of these issues and what you can do to influence outcomes, regardless of your political view. Joining us now to talk about all this, Charlie Mitchell, Editor-in-Chief of Take Action News. Charlie, welcome to the program.
Shoot, Charlie just needs another minute. He'll be on in just a second.
One more minute and Charlie will be here. And by the way, as we're hooking in Charlie here, a reminder, if any of you are listening to us on the radio, whether it's WCPT in Chicago or WPWC in Washington, D.C., and you are also online, and you, for whatever reason you can't watch the entire show, you can go to YouTube, subscribe to Take Action News TV, and then the video clips of this entire show will be sent to you a couple each day. A couple each day will be sent to your inbox. That way you can listen and watch the show at your convenience. It's a pretty cool tool, and this is actually the wave of the future. Media that is available to you at your convenience. That way you don't have to tune in when we're on broadcasting live, but you know that you can still get the great journalism and broadcasting from us at your convenience. Charlie Mitchell, are you around?
I am here. Hey, David.
Charlie, good to have you on board today. So we've been talking the first half hour of the show about the National Security Agency, the government collecting all this information. Related to this is there is some legislation related to cybersecurity, the idea that a lot of government sites and business sites have been hacked, and the government has decided there needs to be some sort of law in place to deal with it. Explain what that's all about and what the prospects are.
Sure, and this has been a top priority for President Obama for a couple of years now. He's been working on cybersecurity and talking about cybersecurity. So the NSA stuff, it didn't come as a huge shock to me because it seems that they've been very aggressive on this. But like a lot of things, David, the just inability of Congress to accomplish anything and the inability of the White House and Congress to work together on things has left a void here. And into that, the Obama administration came out with an executive order on cybersecurity, and they are basically setting standards for industries, saying that you have to meet these standards to protect yourself against hacking from foreign nations and intelligence services and all of this. It's funny, they say that the standards are voluntary, but if you talk to any attorneys, they're telling their clients, well, once these standards are in place, companies are going to have to obey them, and they're going to have to implement these cybersecurity standards. So the administration has tried to get legislation through. The House Republicans have had a totally different take on it. Everybody recognizes, on the business side and the government side, they all say there needs to be a mechanism for companies and government to share information. But that gets very tricky. There are all kinds of liability issues related to that, and there are all kinds of concerns that ordinary citizens would have about, what an Internet server is doing with their information, as we're seeing in this whole uproar over the past week. So they want liability protection. The government wants them to perform up to certain standards. And so far, the two ideas aren't really meshing in legislation. But we're expecting to see some more legislation introduced in the House this coming week that will talk more about information sharing and the role of the Department of Homeland Security, which gets into who has control of any of this data or any of this information. There's a lot of uneasiness about the National Security Agency scooping up information about American citizens and following their communications. And all this just goes against 237 years of U.S. history, that the military doesn't operate here in that way. That has a lot of people saying that Homeland Security should really be the focal point for cybersecurity efforts, and that creates a whole list of other issues. The Department of Homeland Security is not the most popular department in this city, and people have their experiences with airport screeners and all of these things that have cast, kind of a negative light on Homeland Security, but they might end up being the best, smartest place to go to create your cybersecurity program. But we'll see, and there's going to be a big legislative fight over this coming up.